Hey, fifth graders, it's Mr. Headington. I am bringing you your week 5 health assignment. This week's lesson is on the human body systems, and this is probably one of my favorite things to talk about in health, and hopefully you guys find it fascinating too. I really kind of enjoy learning about stuff related to the human body and kind of the science around it, and even though I'm 50 years old, almost 51, I am still learning new things. And I think in science, they are still also learning new things about the human body and how it works, and just fascinating stuff about it. So let's see what I'm going to tell you here today. So what makes up your human body? Your body is made up of really small parts. And the hint I have for this question about what are the smallest parts that make up your body is that you started with only one, but you now have around 30 trillion of them inside your body. The answer is cells. Cells are what we all started with. One cell that was made from a sperm cell from your father and an egg cell from your mother. We'll get to that when we get to our Human Growth Development Unit later this year, so don't worry about that right now. And those first cells of your body that started creating you were called stem cells, and they were just basic cells that eventually would start turning into or specializing into about 200 different kinds of cells, like muscle cells, brain cells, which would be neurons, blood cells, and skin cells, and just any part of your body. There's probably specific cells that make up those parts, and those cells don't last your whole life. New cells replace worn out ones all the time, and eventually the new cells that are made aren't quite as good as the original ones that we had, and that's what causes us to age and get older. So for me, the cells that are making my hair are no longer making the nice blonde, light brown hair that I had when I was younger. Now it's making gray hairs because they're not doing as well. My eyes, I notice a few things about my eyes that I can't see as well. Maybe the cells that help out my ears are affecting how I'm hearing, because my wife says I don't listen, but sometimes I just say I couldn't hear you. I'll get into arguments like that once in a while. And as you get older, the healthier you are as far as getting exercise and eating right, the better off you're helping with those cells as they make new ones. So the cells build and make our organs. If you don't know what organs are, they're the parts of our body that you might recognize, like your heart and your brain and the muscles and the bones and those kind of things. So cells make up the basic parts of our body. And then cells that are the same kind of cells kind of form in groups that form tissue. And then those tissues make organs. The organs would be the things like the heart and lungs and stomach and intestines and brain and kidneys and muscles and bones and all kinds of organs. And then some of those organs are kind of have a job to do to help keep the body alive, which is kind of what we consider a body system. And then the whole you, the person that you are, is an organism. You're a human being. Homo sapiens, kind of our species name. And if you think about other animals, they have similar cells, similar tissues, similar organs, similar systems, but because of their genetics, they have different looks to their body. So like my dog at home has basically the same organs that humans have, but obviously a dog and humans look very different. So kind of interesting that way. And down here in this picture, you can see some of the cells, what they look like. Some are really fascinating. Like these are parts of the brain cells or neurons that send messages to and from the body to the brain. Blood cells that keep us alive with moving oxygen and things around the body. White blood cells, which we need to help fight the germs that are going on. Bone cells that help make the structure of our bones. There's cells lining our intestines, and then the sperm and egg cell that we'll talk about later this year. So I'm not going to have you answer these, but if you want to look them up, you can. How many cells make up the human body? I kind of gave that hint before. How many different kinds of cells are there in the human body? That was on a couple slides ago. How long do cells live inside the human body? Well, some cells live longer than others. Some last many, many years. Some last only a few days. So it just depends on what type of cell they are and what they are. And what are the biggest and smallest cells of the human body? That is a clue for one of our other units later this year. So as I go through these, I'm not going to go through everything, but I'm going to let you pick and choose which of these videos you want to watch. There's a lot of them. I'm not expecting you to watch all of them, but there is one video from Brain Pop on your assignment that you need to do. But we're going to start off with the circulatory system. This is circle, things that go around your body. Your heart is the pump that pumps the blood. The blood vessels are what carries that blood around the body. Jobs that it does includes moving oxygen and getting rid of cell waste. How many heartbeats will you have in your lifetime? It's a few billion, and it seems like a lot, but yeah, they're important. Next system is respiratory system. This has to do with breathing. Video here about how your lungs work. So including your mouth, nose, your trachea or windpipe or your voice box, bronchial tubes, which is down in your lungs, the lungs themselves, and then a muscle that helps you breathe called the diaphragm muscle. And one little interesting fact there, when you get the hiccups, it's this muscle that is causing it to happen. So next, nervous system, probably one that's pretty important. They all are pretty important, but this has to do with your brain, so you can watch the video. It's on here. Brain, spinal cord, and nerves. It seems pretty simple on the parts, but actually the brain is very complicated, and they're still learning more about how it works to help your body. Sensory system. This one's really fun to talk about because there's things that like optical illusions that this video is from, and another one here to kind of show you. Watch those. It kind of tells you about how your brain gets tricked by the senses from the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, and skin. Those parts collect information to send to the brain, and the five senses can be fooled. And there are a few people who have disabilities where they have parts of the sensory system that are not working. So if someone is deaf, they have or hard of hearing, that's affecting their ability to hear. If somebody can't see, whether they're completely blind or partially blind, that can affect them as well. But a lot of times some people can overcome those. And there's some really interesting cases in the world where people who are completely blind can do things through their sense of hearing that normal people wouldn't be able to do. So it's kind of fascinating that way. So next one, another fun one to talk about is the digestive system. I know it's kind of gross because we talk about, food and how it gets chewed up and, all the process through the body. But the mouth, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestines, the large intestines, all are in the digestive system. And then what are the things that the digestive system is doing is getting these things, which I talked about a little bit last year in 4th grade, the nutrients from the foods you eat to give your body what it needs to stay alive. So a couple videos here if you want to watch them. Muscular system, really fun one here. 650 muscles in the body. Your largest is your gluteus maximus, which is the one you're sitting on if you're sitting down. And it is a big muscle. It makes up your backside, your bottom, your buttocks, whatever you want to call it that. And but it is an important one for movement and running. Think about all the things we do in gym class: running, skipping, jumping, kicking. Sports you play, all are important that you have that muscle. The smallest muscles are in your ears, controlling the little tiny bones that help you with hearing. And a lot of muscles work in what's called pairs. And there's a game here. I don't know if it'll work because the Flash Player thing's not working anymore, but it says poke a muscle, and you can figure out which muscles fit to which parts of the body. Skeletal system, another fun one. Usually around Halloween, we're usually talking about skeleton stuff, but hey, you can talk about skeletons any time of the year. 206 bones in your body. The largest is your femur, which is your upper leg bone, and the smallest is in your ear. You have tiny little bones in your ears that help transmit the vibrations from the sound, and your brain has sensory parts that help signal to the brain what you're hearing. So the skeleton provides structure, support, and something really important that you might not know is that the blood that you have, the red blood cells, are actually made in the center of your long bones in the parts called bone marrow. So bones aren't just for giving you shape and structure, it's also for helping keep you alive. Integumentary system, this is kind of a goofy name, but it really has to do with your outer covering your body, including the hair, skin, and nails, any connective tissue that's under the skin, and some of the mucous membranes that are on the inside of your nose, inside of your ears, or any other body opening. So the job of the integumentary system is to protect the body from germs. It's basically your outer covering for your body. Immune system and lymphatic system, these are a little bit more complicated, and all I can tell you for the immune system is that it's what we really need right now with the whole COVID thing going on, that we need to have a good immune system to fight off the germs and help protect us from things. So last week or week before, I think we did our germs lesson, and not just about COVID, but many kinds of germs that are around us, viruses, bacteria, and so on. If we didn't have our immune system working properly, we would have big problems. So immune system is important, and it's a combination of a bunch of things that help to fight off those germs. If you want to learn more, watch the video there. the endocrine system, which is one that I've kind of fascinated with. And I'll explain more of this when we get to our stuff on the puberty and body change stuff. But basically, they're the glands of the body that make up hormones that control the body systems, including growth hormones, insulin, melatonin, or adrenaline. I'll tell you more about those, or you can learn about it from the video here. Urinary system, please don't make fun of it, but it is an important part of the body, and it does have to do with visiting the restroom. But your major parts for the urinary system includes the kidneys. Kidneys are basically a cleaning filter for your blood, and it clears out some poisons and toxins from your body, but also it regulates how much water you have. So if you're drinking plenty of water, you might have to go to the bathroom more often because of the urine. If you're not drinking enough water, you become dehydrated. That means your body is trying to save the water, which kind of is hard on your kidneys. So drinking water is important. And hopefully you're getting, and you don't want to drink too much water. That would be bad too. But it is an important part of the body that is very, very important. So, and I've got a funny story to tell you another time. It involves me going to a movie theater. And anyway, I missed part of the movie or the end of the movie because my kidneys were working overtime to get rid of the caffeine from the soda I was drinking. So anyways, I missed an end of a movie one time because my kidneys were working too hard. So. And then finally, the reproductive system. This is the systems of the body that have to do with making new human beings. And my thing up here, it says not now, but it will be later this year. We'll talk about that unit. So if you come across anything in the human body system stuff that you've learned about that has to do with the reproductive system, just make sure you're being appropriate. And, and there'll be one that'd be good to ask parents about. They can help explain some of the things about that too. So there's a couple of games that I've left here. The Brain Pop games that are on, I'll put it on the front slide of your Seesaw stuff, but it's also here. And then Filament Games has a really fun one, but I don't have the login for that anymore. It used to be one that we used a couple of years ago, and the district no longer has that subscription. So I'll see if I can find something to help us get into that. So hopefully today you learned a little bit more about the human body. And when you finish with seeing my video, I want you to go in and watch the Brain Pop video about body systems. That's about a 6-minute video. And then there's a response sheet on Seesaw that you need to complete. And I'll leave a description and explanation about what to do there. And then finally, there is a link to the Guts and Bolts game from Brain Pop on the front slide that's on this. So I know this was a really short day to talk about something that probably takes a couple of weeks for me to explain. So I hope you find it fascinating and you explore some of the videos that are in this slideshow. And I'll leave a link to the slideshow along in the original thing here. So if you have questions, please send them my way. I know that sometimes kids are like, they have lots of things they want to know. And I'm hoping that you find things as fascinating as I do. Hope you have a wonderful week, and we'll see you again soon.